Kandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Ajnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Stavaram Jangamam Vyaktam Yat Kichit Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bhavaji Vyapi Yat Sarvam Trilokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sarva Shuddhi Shiroratna Virajita Parambujaha Vedantam Buja Suyoya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chaitanya Shashvata Shanto Vyomatito Niranjanaha Bindunada Kalatika Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Jnana Shakti Samaruda Tatvamala Vibhushitaha Bhukti Mukti Pradata Cha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Aneka Janma Samprapta Karma Bandha Irahine Atma Jnana Pradhanena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shoshanam Bhava Sindosha Yapanam Sarasam Paraham Guru Padodakam Samyak Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Na Guru Radhikam Tattvam Na Guru Radhikam Tapaha Tattva Jnanat Param Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Manata Shri Jagannatha Madguru Shri Jagadguru Mamatma Sarva Bhutatma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guru Nadiranadischa Guru Paramadevatam Guru Parataram Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidyadravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidyadravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Lakshmi Om Ma Lakshmi Om 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 Shakti Om Ma Shakti 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 Om Shri Swami Vishwananda Lakshmi Om Shri Swami Vishwananda Lakshmi Om Shri Swami Vishwananda Mahalakshmi Om Shri Swami Vishwananda Mahalakshmi Om Shri Swami Vishwananda Mahalakshmi Om. Sri Swami Vishwananda Mahalakshmi Om. Sri Swami Vishwananda Mahalakshmi Om. Om Lakshmi Om 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 Mahalakshmi Om. Om Shakti Om Shakti 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 Om. Shri Swami Vishwananda Mahalakshmi 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 Om. Jai Jai Ma. 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 Lakshmi Ma. Jai Jai Ma. Jai Jai Ma. Jai Jai Ma. Lakshmi 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 Ma. Jai Jai Ma. Jai Jai Ma. Jai Jai Ma. Jai Jai Ma. Shri Swami Vishwananda Mahalakshmi Om. Shri Swami Vishwananda Mahalakshmi Om. Om Mahavatar Shishaya Namaha. Om Vishamaya Namaha. Om Devakaya Samudyataya Namaha. Om Sukshmatanave Namaha. Om Chinmayaya Namaha. Om Guru Murtaye Namaha. Om Sundaraya Namaha. Om Sulochanaya Namaha. Om Sumukhaya Namaha. Om Charuvasaya Namaha. Om Keshavaya Namaha, Om Padambujaya Namaha, Om Mandagamanaya Namaha, Om Charubhadrine Namaha, Om Ramaya Namaha, Om Mandirastapakaya Namaha, Om Shri Bhavachakaya Namaha, Om Gayatri Ajvane Namaha, Om Arpanasvikarakaya Namaha, Om Vishnu Pujakaya Namaha, Om Namo Narayana Yeti Mantrupasakaya Namaha, Om Swaramayaya Namaha, Om Madhurakantaya Namaha, Om Krishna Sankirtana Lolupaya Namaha, Om Stotra Priyaya Namaha, Om Mitabhashine Namaha, Om Vagmine Namaha, Om Chitrakala Visharadaya Namaha, Om Vratadharaya Namaha, Om Sadave Namaha, Om Jagatpantaya Namaha, Om Sarvalokahitaya Namaha, Om Bhakta Priyaya Namaha, Om Sudaya Namaha, Om Anukulaya Namaha, Om Neyaya Namaha, Om Sudarshanaya Namaha, Om Bhaktavatsalaya Namaha, Om Premamurtaye Namaha, Om Shubhekshanaya Namaha, Om Pritivardhanaya Namaha, Om Swastidayakaya Namaha, Om Tarakaya Namaha, Om Anugrahaya Namaha, Om Vardhanaya Namaha, Om Architaya Namaha, Om Arthaya Namaha, Om Siddhipradaya Namaha, Om Janardhanaya Namaha, Om Manoharaya Namaha, Om Mahakshaya Namaha, Om Siddheshwaraya Namaha, Om Bhasmabhushitaya Namaha, Om Atmalingaya Namaha, Om Nigashana Protsakaya Namaha, Om Siddhi Sadanaya Namaha, Om Madhavaya Namaha, Om Omkaropasakaya Namaha, Om Sukshmaya Namaha, Om Vishokaya Namaha, Om Satvikaya Namaha, Om Samadarshine Namaha, Om Darshaya Namaha, Om Achintyaya Namaha, Om Niramkaraya Namaha, Om Nirmohaya Namaha, Om Agyagraya Namaha, Om Chitakrodaya Namaha, Om Vinayashilaya Namaha, Om Svavashaya Namaha, Om Kushalaya Namaha, Om Kshamaya Namaha, Om Satyadharmaya Namaha, Om Nirvikalpaya Namaha, Om Viraktaya Namaha, Om Atindraya Namaha, Om Satyasangaya Namaha, Om Pavitraya Namaha, Om Madhura Svabhavaya Namaha, Om Suranandaya Namaha, Om Nandanaya Namaha, Om Prasanatmane Namaha, Om Bhaktanidaye Namaha, Om Sakshaye Namaha, Om Samatmaye Namaha, Om Sadayogine Namaha, Om Haraye Namaha, Om Sutapaya Namaha, Om Saumyaya Namaha, Om Guyaya Namaha, Om Vimuktatmaya Namaha, Om Gabhiraya Namaha, Om Guptaya Namaha, Om Atmaramaya Namaha, Om Srinivasaya Namaha, Om Devaya Namaha, Om Jyotidaraya Namaha, Om Danyaya Namaha, Om Gurave Namaha, Om Duratikramaya Namaha, Om Gahanaya Namaha, Om Bhagavate Namaha, Om Anisharana Margadakshakaya Namaha, Om Kutastha Jagatkakaya Namaha, Om Aviprayaya Namaha, Om Sarvamata Samadhyaya Namaha, Om Shamaikata Bhavavarakaya Namaha, Om Premavatara Sri Vishwananda Swami Namaha. Ato Deva Avantuno Yato Vishnur Vichakrame Prithivya Sapta Damavihi Idam Vishnur Vichakrame Tredani Dade Padam Samudamasya Pragum Sure Trini Pada Vichakrame Vishnur Gopada Adyaha Ato Dharmani Dharayane Vishnu Karmani Pashyatayato Vratani Paspashe Indrasya Yujassakaha Tad Vishnu Paramam Paragam Sada Pashanti Surya Giri Vachakshuratatam Tad Vipraso Vipanyavo Jagravagum Sasamindhate Vishnu Yat Paramam Padam. Premavattaraya vidmahe Sadgurudevaya dhimahi Tanno Vishwananda prachodayate. Vishwananda prachodayate. Premavataraaya vidmahe Sadgurudevaya dhimahi Tanno Vishwananda prachodayate. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Yo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Yo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Yo Yo Na Prachodayat. Shri Krishna Vishnu Madhusudana Kaitabhare Narayana Achyuta Trivikrama Chakrapane Daityadi Sajadhara Sridhara Vasudeva Gopala Krishna Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Rukminisha Bhavanasha Hare Murare Radesha Gopisha Surupa Brahmadi Vandya Shri Dwarakashraya Vaikuntha Pate Bhuvanaika Murte Gopala Deva Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Vina Krite Kamatharupa Varaha Murte Trevikramaya Guhane Bhrigarama Rama Shri Rama Krishna Yadunandana Kalki Rupa Gopala Krishna Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Govinda Madhava Mukunda Paratparesha Damodaracha Tarananda Katari Shori Go Gopa Gopi Jana Samprita Hina Bandho Gopi Jana Priyaye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Radhishai Pujagadi Patalpashai Sadbhaktarishananashai Ramangashai Shri Gopavama Mridutalpa Sukhadishai Go Gopa Vallabhaye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Kashyapatri Sukhanarada Gautamadi Brahmarshi Sangamani Sangava Bharateshoho Tishtanti Deva Tava Darshana Bhagya Hetoho Gopala Sekaraye Tava Suprabhatam Mandara Jari Tulasi Dalamalikayahe Mayani Anjali Pute Samudaharanti Tishtanti Patpavatatara Tale Muritraha Radha Manoharaye Tava Suprabhatam Vedatrayam Patati Gautamakana Guyaha Gayanti Shangunagano Bharata Savagaha Sankirtayanti Tava Nama Kada Visheshaha Shri Naradari Rishaya Tava Suprabhatam Govardhano Narana Gopa Kishora Gopa Gopi Janamrita Suvesha Bhavati Pota Trilokya Mohana Sumangala Divya Deha Shri Rukminisha Varada Tava Suprabhatam Shri Vatsachina Sharanagata Parijata Bhaktati Bhanjana Kripakara Dina Bandho Tijanta Gayati Janapriya Divya Rupa Shri Nanda Gopatanaya Tava Suprabhatam Padmaksha Padmamukha Padmadara Prameya Padmalaya Svahrita Padmanivasa Shori Padmodbhavati Surasevita Parapadma Padmadinata Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Vrindatale Viharayaya Mahendra Vandya Kandalpadalpa Haratinya Sudesha Rupa Chandrananaya Siddha Chandana Libna Deha Govindayada Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Nandanandana Yashoda Kumara Dhira Mayangadhina Madhishona Supushpahara Nilambuddha Susharira Rama Vihara Gopala Deva Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Pashti Jampavati Satya Suganti Bhadra Shri Mitra Vinda Divasa Prabhu Putrika Jahe Tishtanti Divya Bhavame Tava Sevanardam Gopi Manapriya Hare Tava Suprabhatam Shri Krishna Achyuta Ananta Mukunda Shori Radha Manohara Janardana Chakrapane Namani Divya Munayorna Dishambalanti Brahmi Muhurta Samaye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Krishna Suprabhatam Ye Patanti Aharisham Bhuri Kritam Mahapapam Shri Krishna Grahe Tukam Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Salvakarana Karanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Chintamani Prakara Sadma Sukalpa Vriksha Laksha Vriteshu Surabira Vipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Vedum Kamantamaravinda Dalaya Taksham Bhanavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpa Kotika Maniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Halola Chandra Kala Sadvana Marya Vamshi Radhangadam Pranaya Keli Kala Vilasam Shamam Tribangalalitam Niyata Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Vrittimanti Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Shiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadujvala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Advaitamachutamani Manantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha Vedeshu Dulapamadulatma Bhakto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Mandattu Koti Shatavatsara Sampragamyo Vayo Ratapi Manaso Muni Pungavanam Sopyasti Yatrapada Sindhya Vichintya Tanve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Ekopya saurachayitum jagadanda-kotim yaschaktirasti jagadanda-chayaya-dantaha Anantarasta-paramanu-chayantarastham Govindamadi-purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi-purusham tamaham bhajami Yad-bhava-bhavita-diyo manujastateva Samprapya rupa mahima sanayana busha Shukteyameva nigama pratitestuvanti Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Ananda chinmaya rasam pratibhavitabis Dhabirya eva nijarupataya kalavi Goloka eva nivasatya kilatma bhuto Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena Santa sadeva nidayeshu vilokayanti Yam shama sundaram achintya gunasvarupam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Ramadi murti shukalani amena tishtan Nanavataram akarot bhuvaneshu kintu Krishna svayam samabhavat paramapumanyo Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadanda koti Koti shashesha sudani vibhuti vinam Tad brahmanishtaram anantam ashesha bhutam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Maya hi yasya jagadanda shatani sute Traigunya tad vishaya vera vidayamana Sattva-valambi parasattva vishuddha sattvam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Ananda chinmaya rasatmakaya manashu Ya praninam pratipalam smaratamupedya Lila itena bhuvanani yayachayashram Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Golokanam nijadham nitale chatasya Devi mahesha haridhama suteshu teshu Te prabhava nichaya vihitaschayena Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Shrishti sthiti pralaya sadhana shakti rekha Chayeva yasya bhuvanani vibharti durga Inchanurupamapi yasya chacheshatesa Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Kshiram yatadadi vikara vishesha yoga Sanjayate nahi tata prithakasti heto Yasyam bhutamapi tata samupaiti karyat Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Dipashireva nidashantaramabhyupetya Dipayate virita hetu samana dharma Yastalingeva nicha vishnutaya vibhati Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Vyakaranavalajale bhajati sma yoga Nidram hananta jagadanda saroma kupaha Adhara shakti mavalam yaparam svamurtim Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yasyaika nishvasita kala matavalamya Jivanti loma vilaja jagadandanata Vishur mahasa iha yasya kala vishesho Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Bhasvandya jasma shakaleju nijeshu tejaha Shriyam kiyat prakatayaptyapitadvatatra Brahmaya esha jagadanda vidhana karta Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yatpada pallava yugam vinidaya kumbha Vande pranama samaye saganadi raja Vignam vihantu malamasya jagatrayasya Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Agnir mahe gaganam ambut maruti sascha Kalastatatma manasiti jagatrayani Yasmat bhavanti vibhavanti vishanti amcha Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yakshakshuresha savita sakala grahana Raja samasta suramurti rashesha tejaha Yasya jnaya pramati samrita kala chakro Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Dipata papa nichayashtutayashtapamsim Brahmadikita patagada jivaha Yadaktamatra vibhava prakata prabhava Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yastvindra gopa matavindra mahosvadharma Bandhanurupa palavajanamatanoti Karmani nirdavati kintu cha bhakti varjam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Yam krodha kama sahaja pranayadi bhiti Vatsalya moha guru gaurava sevya bhave Sanchinchatasya sadeshim tanuma purete Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Salvakarana Karana Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Agnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmei Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Gurudev, good morning. How are you all enjoying the Guru Gita? Nice. So, I have to admit, the seva that I have, it makes it quite difficult for me to listen, to pay attention to the course exactly. I'll have it going on in the background, but often I have to watch other videos and things like this. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to rewatch. Fortunately, I'm going to have to take the time later. So I apologize. Would have been a good thing because I knew I had satsang this morning to really listen carefully what he was saying, and then I could talk about it, but I cannot do that. However, what I can do is try and talk about the Guru, the experiences that I've had. I've known Guruji almost 10 years. In October will be 10 years since I met Paramahamsa Vishwananda. And in those 10 years, he's graced me with many, many different experiences. And as the Guru Gita continues, and as I'm sure Guruji has mentioned already, one of the characteristics of the Sadguru is the fact that he's so incomprehensible, actually. And as much as we want to try and understand who he is, how ultimately impossible that is. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So this is from the 11th canto. This is the Uddhava Gita, the conversation between Uddhava and Lord Krishna. And I'm going to read you this first verse and then the second verse that I chose. So this first verse is 11:12:24. Krishna says to Uddhava, "With steady intelligence, you should develop an unalloyed devotional service by careful worship of the Guru. And with the sharpened axe of transcendental knowledge, you should cut off the subtle material covering of the soul. Upon realizing the Supreme Lord, you should then give up that axe of analytic knowledge." Okay, very nice. We'll come back to this. And then finally, about 10 verses before that, he says, "Mat kama ramanam jaram ashvarupa vidbalaha brahmamam paramam prupya sangacheta saharsaha." So sorry, that's 11, 12, 13, Canto 11, chapter 12, verse 13. The translation is, "All of those gopis, understanding me to be their most charming lover and ardently desiring me in that way, were unaware of my actual position, yet by intimately associating with me, the gopis attained me, the supreme absolute truth." So these two verses, right? The first one I read, "With steady intelligence, you should develop an unalloyed devotional service by careful worship of the Guru. And with the sharpened axe of transcendental knowledge, you should cut off the subtle material covering of the soul. Upon realizing the Supreme Lord, you should then give up that axe of analytic knowledge and then become like a gopi." And so, why are we all here? For one reason or another, from one path, how we ended up here can be very, very different. When I first met Guruji, I had no conception at all what a guru was. I had some vague ideas of that person having a long white beard and sitting on a hill or a mountain somewhere, and his eyes always half open and just saying very wise things. And when I met Guruji, he very quickly destroyed that conception that I had. Yeah, he was very funny. He was very human seeming, very charming, making jokes. I didn't have any gray hair at the time, 10 years ago. Now he has a few. And so the reasons that we came, our path, they can vary. Some of us were searching, some of us were Hindus already, all of these things. But the reason that we're here is all the same. Whether for sure most of us admit it, especially if you're here for this course, but we're all here because of him. We're all here because we love him and we want to know about him, right? If we love something, more we want to know about it. And so this verse is very important because it's explaining that you need that intelligence, you need that desire to know something, and you need to worship the spiritual master with an axe of transcendental knowledge, with knowledge. Worship the master with knowledge. So knowledge is very important. We want to know who the guru is. We want to know who this man is, who this guy is who's touched our lives, right? Because we love him. Especially myself, or I should say, as well as myself, generally, I like to know things. I think most of us do. But I'm somebody who's very analytical, likes to know things properly. And so it can become frustrating when something, by definition, by characteristic, is unknowable. But it can also be very inspiring in a way. So I'll explain. For example, I'm very much, especially kind of more recently, but also just in my life, I've always been interested in kind of astronomy, space, these kinds of things. The physics that goes on in space, like from the beginning of time, the Big Bang, to how all of this stuff came to be. And there's a lot of stuff that scientists don't understand. There's a lot of very weird things, right? So you might have heard of dark matter, which is much more prevalent in this universe than matter. If you look around, there's much more empty space. There's actually a very small percentage of what we call matter, what makes everything that we can see and touch, makes up everything that we understand, Earth and all the stars and galaxies and solar systems and universes, is very, very small in quantity, actually. There's much more not stuff. And scientists can somewhat understand it, but this dark matter doesn't behave like matter, right? So we have certain ways to understand as human beings, right? Our eyes, like our senses. This is how we understand the world, through our senses. And dark matter, strangely, doesn't interact with the electromagnetic spectrum. So it doesn't interact with light, essentially, and these kinds of things. And so it's undetectable to us. And so we're not really sure what it is, even though there's a huge majority of it, and we see the effects of it. We ultimately we've not really been able to measure it properly and understand it, because it's literally beyond our capabilities of understanding as a human being with these senses. And so this stuff, okay, we don't understand, but it's very interesting, it's very exciting. And the more I learn about the universe in that way, the more in awe I am even of God, right? The more I am in awe of this creation, therefore, the more I am in awe of God. And so recently, I was in Portugal with Guruji. It was a super nice trip. He gave Darshan. It was the biggest Darshan he's ever given. Nearly 4,000 people, many hours. He started at about 11:30 in the morning and finished about 3:30 a.m. And it was insane and amazing. And I think it must have been 2 days after that, we were at the Portuguese ashram. And Guruji and I started having a conversation. And I started asking him somehow about free will, because this is always a topic that is very difficult for me to understand, speaking of understanding. And it's not so often that Guruji kind of gets in a mood, right? That he kind of openly talks about himself or about anything. So often he hides. He pretends to be very much human. And he will trick. He will easily trick you. And you will easily forget that he's not. But in this instance, he started kind of talking a little bit more openly. And so the topic was on free will. And he started to give an answer and said, basically, you will not understand because the guru, the master, will give completely different answers depending on the devotee. And he told me this story of Buddha, 3 people coming to Buddha and saying, does God exist? And to one of them he says yes, to one of them he says no, and to one of them he says maybe. And Guruji's often talked about this, right? And he said it again there. This was at night. There was Swami Parantapa, Swami Ravati, myself, and Guruji in our room. And he said again, a doctor who's good, right? They'll have 2 patients. The symptoms are exactly the same, but the doctor knows to give different medicine. So he said this again. And I said, but there must be, this is what I asked Guruji. I said, but there must be one truth, right? Cannot be different truths for different people. Ultimately, there must be one truth. And he said, there is one truth, but you don't even understand. This is what he said, and he said this because he's the guru, and he knows that this gets me excited. He said, there is one truth, but you don't even understand the infinity of the universe. He said that vastness of the universe amongst trillions of galaxies, and this is not even a fraction of the Supreme Lord. Then he said the Vishwarupa in the Gita, Krishna shows this supreme aspect of himself, which is insane, right? If you read about it, if you can even try and imagine it, the description that Arjuna gives, it's hectic. It's crazy. Seeing all of this magnificence and terribleness and all of this stuff. Everywhere he's looking, everything, that's all he can see. And Guruji says that Vishwarupa, he shows to Arjuna, not even that is a fraction of myself. It's a grain of sand to who I actually am. There's another story I want to tell you. Okay? I'm just building the case here. In France, was it 2020, I don't remember, 2022, 2023, we were on pilgrimage. We're on a bus, okay? There's many devotees who are on this bus driving. And I think Guruji says, yeah, let's stop by this gas station. So the bus pulls over. We're in the middle of France somewhere. I have no idea. Not near anything. No major city. Middle of nowhere in France, let's say that. Stop by this gas station. We all get out. Guruji's in a good mood, kind of playing, having fun. We're all kind of going to the bathroom and getting snacks and things. And somebody asks, one devotee in this gas station convenience store, asks Guruji, what do you do? And I was standing next to Guruji, and it was this, you could understand that he was asking in a deeper level. It seemed sincere, right? Because if you're not sincere, Guruji will not even entertain your questions. But it felt sincere, and it felt like he was prodding a little bit, like, what's really going on here? What do you do? Kind of funny question to ask in the middle of a gas station in France, in the middle of nowhere. And Guruji said this. He said, somebody came to a hermit one day and said, what do you do all day? It seems that you just sit here and you're not doing anything. This is what they asked the hermit. And the hermit said, no, that's completely wrong. On the contrary, all day I'm very busy. Morning to night, I have 2 hawks to tame, 2 eagles, 2 rabbits, and 1 lion. And Guruji said, those 2 hawks are the eyes that are never still, flying around everywhere. The eagles are the hands, always reaching out, touching things. The snake is the tongue, also never still, constantly slithering around. The 2 rabbits are the feet that need to be held under control. And finally, the single lion is pride. And so the hermit is sitting there looking like he's not doing anything on the outside, but on the inside, he's controlling himself, right? This is the answer Guruji gave. And then he says, but actually, I don't do any of this. And he said, I destroy worlds, I create worlds, I sustain this world, and I create universes, and I destroy universes. Every second, universes are being created and destroyed. And then walked away. And it was just like, I think the guy and I were just like stopped. We were just looking at each other like, what just happened? And I don't know, I love this stuff. And after we just went on the bus again, and I'm sitting near Guruji, and Guruji's just kind of on his phone, and all back to normal. Not even that anything changed for him. It was just a statement. It's just what he does. For me, it was crazy. For the guy, it was crazy. But for him, he just goes back on the bus and just sitting there on his phone. And I'm just like, man, what a thing to say, to just drop that in the middle of a gas station in France, in the middle of nowhere. It's just like, oh my God. And so, again, it's important, right? We want to know, we want to try and understand. But the more that you try and understand, the more that we will understand that the Guru, the Sadguru, is incomprehensible. And for me at least, that's completely fine with me. That actually makes me more excited, more in awe of him. Then comes this second verse, right, that I read, where he says the gopis are unaware of me in reality. Yet by intimately associating with me, they attain the supreme absolute truth. And so after we reach a certain level of knowledge, that level of knowledge should lead us to the state of a gopi, ideally, right? Because all of that knowledge is limited. Ultimately, we cannot understand him with our mind. It's just so impossible. And that's the point he was making also in Portugal, is that even these things that we can barely grasp, like the Vishwarupa and the universe around us and material stuff and things, even these things that we really don't even understand. There's actually in Portugal also, I didn't mention this, but he also mentioned, and he's mentioned before, something about the particle, right? How it's, Krishna is in each particle, right? But if you listen to scientists talk about particles, for example, recently I was listening to a scientist talk about electrons, and they're trying to measure electrons. Electrons are super weird things. And when they try to measure the mass of an electron, sometimes they get quarks, which are smaller parts that make up an electron, that actually equal a greater mass than the entire electron. So try and understand that. That's the cutting edge science, is that when they try to measure an electron, the mass, something else shows up that is a quark that's has more mass than an electron, but it's the thing that makes up the electron, right? So what is going on? And finally, last story I'll tell. In Bali, was recently in Bali. We were going to it's not really a temple, but it's a giant statue that they have in Bali. It's a giant Garuda statue that they've built in Bali. And from the hotel, it takes an hour to get there. And so the pilgrims had left already the hotel in the morning. They'd driven 1 hour. Then they had been already at the place, at this Garuda statue, massive Garuda statue. They'd already been there for 1 hour. So they'd driven 1 hour, and they'd already been there for 1 hour. And around that time, Guruji came to have breakfast. So even if he left right then, they would still be waiting an hour for us to drive there, and then we would be there again, yeah. Okay, so of course, Yamuna, our dear Yamuna, organizing the whole pilgrimage, a little bit stressed. People are waiting. There's other things. There's this, there's that. There's a whole program. Does Guruji care about this at all? If you know Guruji, if you've been on pilgrimage with Guruji, does he care? No. Because he is the master of time. Anyway. So he comes for breakfast. And he's being Guruji. He's in no hurry, of course. He's just enjoying and talking to some people, and we're all there. Some of us are there that are going with him. And eventually, I think after it's been half an hour or whatever, and he's eaten his breakfast, and Yamuna just kind of humbly comes to Guruji, meekly comes to Guruji and says, Guruji, the people, they've already been there over 1 hour, and it takes an hour to get there. So people are waiting for you. People are waiting for you there since over 1 hour already. And Guruji, in front of, 15, 20 of us, looks at her and says, kind of looks off in the distance, and he says, Some of them have been waiting for me for lifetimes. Some of them have been waiting for me for thousands and thousands of years. And that was it. Drop the mic. Yamuna was like, okay, good point. We were all like, oh, snap. Govinda. Right? And so my point is, puts things into perspective, right? He puts things into perspective in many, many different ways. I have a motto that I like, right? Even before I met Guruji, which is perspective is everything, okay? Even if you're not spiritual. Like, sit on the ground one night and look up at the sky and just try and take it in. That we're spinning on this little grain of dust in the middle of an expanse of universe that is mostly not matter. And we're this tiny little fleck of matter in a solar system that is a speck of dust, in a galaxy that is a speck of dust, amongst trillions of galaxies, amongst the observable universe that we don't even know what is outside the universe, because the universe is expanding, by the way, faster than the speed of light, which doesn't make too much sense, because nothing can go faster than the speed of light. But anyway, in potentially, which we know to be true because Guruji said it's true, and he said it in the gas station of France, amongst how many different universes, right? That, I don't remember where it's described, but that the Lord is sweating universes. Maybe it's the Bhagavatam, I don't remember. He's just sweating universes. And Guruji's saying, right, in this gas station in France, he said, I'm creating universes and I'm destroying universes. So perspective, right? And we just forget. We lose perspective all the time. And I would say that that's okay. That's fine. That's very human. We all do that constantly. I'm no different, of course. And often Guruji can be the reason we lose perspective, right? If you spend any amount of time close to him, after a while or immediately, you will just forget all of this. He will do something human. He will elicit a certain reaction from you that he wants to make from you. He will scold you or laugh with you or whatever it is, and immediately you will forget all of this stuff. So that's all fine. It's more fine in our daily lives, okay? But I would argue that it's less fine when we're in the presence of Guruji and we're remembering Guruji. We're remembering his teachings and we're trying to be spiritual. We're trying to be his disciples, right? We're trying to go from just being followers and devotees and we're trying to be his disciples. And we're meditating on Guruji and we're thinking of Guruji. Then it's less fine that we lose perspective. Because this perspective of the greatness of Guruji should bring us to that state of the gopis, right? Again, like this verse says, we try and get as much perspective as we can, okay? We try and understand the Guru as much as we can. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't understand the Guru. No, you have to try and understand as much as possible because we love him, because we want to understand. I want to understand. I like learning about the universe. I like learning about Guruji. And I like also when it reaches the limit of my understanding. So learn, right? Understand him. But understand also that that knowledge and that understanding needs to lead to a certain place. It needs to lead to that bhava that the gopis have, right? In that, Krishna says they were unaware of my actual position. Everybody's unaware of his actual position. He is unknowable. And yet, right, the gopis attained me. And so, as we continue in this Guru Gita course, I just, for myself and for all of us, just try and keep this perspective. It will be easier because Guruji it's going to come up, right? The verses are very beautiful and his description is very beautiful. And just let it kind of wash over you and accept, right, that we don't understand. And also just accept that our perception, our perspective is so limited. The point is to try and remember that as much as possible, right? In that, Guruji, these people have been waiting for you for a few hours, right? But how many lifetimes have we been waiting? Guruji has that perspective for all of us. And so try and hold on to that higher perspective of who Guruji is. Because at least for me, ultimately it just helps me love him more and want to worship him more and makes me more in awe and ultimately just accept and surrender not only to him, but him in the manifestation of every situation in my life. Keep that perspective. Keep that perspective. Jai Gurudev.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Praladadayine. Hiranyakashipur Vakshaha.
Hiranyakashipur Vakshaha.
Hiranyakashipur Vakshaha.
Hiranyakashipur Vakshaha.
Shilatankanakalaye. Shilatankanakalaye. Ito narasimha parato narasimho.
Ito narasimho parato narasimho.
Ito narasimha parato narasimho.
Ito narasimho parato narasimho
Yato yato yamitato narasimho
Yato yato yamitato narasimho
Yato yato yamitato narasimho
Yato yato yamitato narasimho
Bahir narasimho Hridaye narasimho
Bahir narasimho Hridaye narasimho
Bahir narasimho Hridaye narasimho
Bahir narasimho Hridaye narasimho
Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye
Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye
Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye
Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye
Namaste Narasimhaya
Namaste Narasimhaya
Praladaladaine
Praladaladaine
Hiranyakashipur Vakshaha
Hiranyakashipur Vakshaha
Shilatankana Kalaye
Shilatankana Kalaye
Ito Narasimha Parato Narasimho
Ito Narasimho Parato Narasimho
Yato yato yamitato Narasimho
Yato yato yamitato Narasimho
Bahir Narasimho Hridaye Narasimho
Bahir Narasimho Hridaye Narasimho
Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye
Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye
Tavakara Kamalavare Nakamabhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Keshavadirta Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare
Tavakara Kamalavare Nakamadbhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringa Ishavadita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare
Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare
Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare
Jai Narasimha Dev Narasimha Dev Narasimha Dev Jai Narasimha Dev
Jaya Narasimha Dev Narasimha Dev Narasimha Dev Jaya Narasimha Dev
Jai Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Bhakta Swarupa Jai Prahlad Maharaj
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Bhakta Swarupa Jaya Prahlad Maharaj
Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev
Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya
Vishwananda Gurudev.
Sri Vishwananda Gurudev, 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 Sri Vishwananda Gurudev.
Ramanuja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Yatiraja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me.
Ramanuja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Yatiraja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me.
Yatindraya Karunakaraya, Mangala Mangala Me.
Yatindraya Karunakaraya, Mangala Mangala Me.
Praparti Dalmai Karataya, Mangala Mangala Me.
Prapati Damai Karataya, Mangala Mangala Me.
Ramanuja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Yatiraja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me.
Ramanuja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Yatiraja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me.
Saligrama Pratishtitaya, Mangala Mangala Me.
Saligrama Pratishtitaya, Mangala Mangala Me.
Tridantadarine Gotaklachaya, Mangala Mangala Me.
Tridantanarine Gotakajaya, Mangala Mangala Me.
Ramanuja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Yatiraja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me.
Ramanuja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Yatiraja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me.
Rangesha Kenkaryarataya, Mangala Mangala Me.
Rangesha Kenkaryarataya, Mangala Mangala Me.
Mananataya, Dharinetaraya, Mangala Mangala Me.
Mananataya, Dharinetaraya, Mangala Mangala Me.
Ramanuja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Yatiraja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me.
Ramanuja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Yatiraja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me.
Mangala Mangala Me. Om Jai Jagadisha Hare,
Swami Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Bhakta Janom ke Sankata, Dasa Janom ke Sankata, Shalame Dura Kare. Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Jo jave phala pave, dukha binase manaka. Swami dukha binase manaka. Sukha sampati gara ave, Sukha sampati gara ave. Kashtamite tanaka. Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Mata Pita Tuma Mere, Sharanaga Hummen Kisaki. Swami Sharanaga Hummen Kisaki. Tuma Vina Ora na Duja, Tuma Vina Ora na Duja. Asakarumen Kisaki. Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Tuma Purana Paramatma, Tuma Antarayami. Swami Tuma Antarayami. Para Brahma Parameshvara, Para Brahma Parameshvara, Tuma Sabake Swami. Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Tuma Karuna ke Sagar, Tuma Palana Karta. Swami Tuma Palana Karta. Make Sevaka Tuma Swami, Make Sevaka Tuma Swami. Kripa Karo Bharata. Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Tumaho eka agochara sabake pranapati Swami sabake pranapati Kisa vidya milum dayamaya Kisa vidya milum kripamaya Tumako me kumati Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Dina Bandhu Kaharta Tumara Rakshaka Mere Swami Tumara Rakshaka Mere Karuna Hata Badao Karuna Hata Badao Sharana Pada Tere Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Vishaya Vikara Mitao Papa Haro Deva Swami Papa Haro Deva Shraddha Bhakti Badao Shraddha Prema Badao Santana Ki Seva Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Dana mana dhana sabha hai tera Swami sabha kuch hai tera Swami sabha kuch hai tera Tera tujhko arpan Tera tujhko arpan Kya lage mera Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Swami Jaya Jagadisha Hare Bhakta Janom ke Sankata Dasa Janom ke Sankata Chana me dura kare Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Man chakar rakhoji Gidhari lala chakar rakhoji Gidhari lala chakar rakhoji Gidhari lala chakar rakhoji Man chakar rakhoji Gidhari lala chakar rakhoji Gidhari lala chakar rakhoji Gidhari lala chakar rakhoji Oh chakar rakho chakar rakho chakar rakhoji Chakar rakho chakar rakho chakar rakhoji Mane chakar rakhoji Gidhari lala chakar rakhoji Shama mane chakar rakhoji Gidhari lala chakar rakhoji Govinda mane chakar rakhoji Gidhari lala chakar rakhoji Gidhari lala chakar rakhoji Gidhari lala chakar rakhoji Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva Tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva Tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva Govinda Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityorma amritam gamaya Om Shanti 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 Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu Om Shanti 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 Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om
Prem se bolo Lakshmi Narayana Bhagavan ki Jai. Prem se bolo Sri Bhutabhrteshwarnath Mandir Bhagavan ki Jai. Prem se bolo Shri Hare Krishna Kanhaiya ki Jai. Prem se bolo Mahavatara Kriya Baba ji ki Jai. Prem se bolo Shri Lucha Acharya ki Jai. Prem se bolo Sadguru Deva Sri Swami Vishwananda Mahaprabhu ki Om Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijana Vallabhaya Paraya Paramapurushaya Parakarma Mantra Yantra Tantra Oshadasya Shastrani Samrai Samrai Michor Mochai Mochai Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Diti Jalapritaya Samanik Shubhahum Pat Parishmaye Parabrahmane Paramjyotishe Svaha
Om Shanti 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 Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.
Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Sham Venkatamana Govinda, Gopika Chivnasmanam Govinda, Bhakta Vatsala Govinda, Pundalik Varde, Ekanath Namde, Panarinath Maharaj ki, Rukmini Maharani ki, Samasta Bhakta Mandali ki, Alvaram Purumanar Thiruvalikare Sharanam.